Happy New Year 2024. I decided to have to handle Andy Android because that was a nickname I had. Um, this is the introduction. First off, welcome. Hope you might enjoy me talking about certain things which I'm going to do later on in other uploads that I will be doing. To give a bit of brief background, why 2024? Well, in 1984, I really started working in the computer industry. That's when I started making money. I was actually what I would call a professional, like an amateur professional. Now, I was an amateur before that, so I didn't go straight into the computer industry out the box. In short, my father died in 1980, sadly, when I was quite young, and left me some money. And so about £70, which in today's money is about 285 UK pounds. For our American cousins over in the US, that's $355, $360. Anyway, and in 81, while going through the newspaper, reading about things, I saw an advert for Sinclair's ZX81, a home computer. I thought, wow, a computer you can have at home. Yeah, and saw the big adverts on TV, like a computer seemed very expensive. But here was a computer with 70 quid. I thought, well, I always wondered about computers because I come from an electronics background. My father was into electronics and my brother was into electronics. So I said to my mum, I want to spend my £70 on that. My mother obviously went completely bonkers, wasn't happy about it at all. It's a waste of money. She had to eat those words, but anyway, so she caved, ordered it, and it turned up just before Prince of Wales and Lady Diana tied the knot in July 1981, if my memory serves me correct. And rather than watch that boring wedding on the black and white TV, I had the ZX81 plugged into it and was promptly bursting, blazing through the manual. And in a few weeks, I'd exhausted all of the basic tutorials because it was a really good manual. I went through all the basic tutorials like crazy. I went, oh yeah, I love this. And I hit the back of the manual, and the back of the manual went on about how the machine kind of worked. And it mentioned machine code. And by this time, I'd gone down the library and got some books out about how computers worked, how these machines functioned. And I'd learned about microprocessors. And machine code is what microprocessors run. And at the heart of the ZX81 is the Zilog Z80. So, and in the back of the book, unusually for the book, was all of the instructions the Z80 understood, the machine code instructions. So I started messing about with those, and I started getting that working. I started making the machine do things, not in BASIC, but in machine code. Wow. And this made me think, I thought, well, I'm studying to be a draftsman. Now, I've seen what computers are doing, and I'm thinking, yeah, they're going to do all that on computers, computer assisted design, CAD. So that's a dead end job to go into. So I tried to switch to electronics. The college turned around and said, no way, it's fully booked, you ain't going to get into the electronics course. But the head teacher then turned around and said, what you've got though is there's a computer course, which the first modules are very similar to the electronics course. So you could possibly switch in the second year if you passed the first year. But he said the magic word, computers. I went, I'm really interested in that. Sign me up. So I went into the computer course. And lo and behold, as luck would have it, the microprocessor modules in that computer course were based around Intel's 8085. And when I saw the 8085 coding, it looked awfully familiar. And it turned out that the team that designed the 885 were the team that designed the Zilog Z80. In other words, they were co-compatible. So I already knew how to program this microprocessor, because if you can program Z80, you can program 885. Yeah. So no problem. I just aced all the microprocessor modules. I started helping the other students, in fact. And this got to the attention of the head teacher. So I passed my first year, just about. I didn't get a great grade. And then I get to the second year, and now the maths is really more challenging in the second year. This is 83 to 84. And around about Marchish, April time in 84, the head teacher comes up and talks to me and says, the head tutor comes up and says, you're in trouble. Your maths is, you're not doing well in your maths. You're getting very poor grades in the maths modules. So I'm going, oh no. So you're not going to pass this course, I don't think. And he then turned around and said to me, and I remember the conversation. It's like, I can remember like yesterday. I was in the corridor with the head tutor, and he turns around and says to me, I've got a telephone number for you. What's that to do with? And he says, look, a local computer company, games company, because at this time, Sinclair had released the Spectrum in 82, and a whole computer game industry had started up in the UK, and companies were looking for programmers now, desperately trying to find programmers to write more games. So I said, I've got the details of this company, got a phone number from them, give them a call. They're looking for programmers. You already know Z80 because you've told me that. And they're looking for programs to program on their machines. Okay, so I gave them a call, arranged to meet, went down them, told them about my experience with the ZX81, and then I was promptly sat in front of a Spectrum, and off we went. And I didn't know anything about the Spectrum. And I got a few pointers from the guy there. They had compilers, so I didn't have to punch the numbers into the memory like I've been doing on the ZX81, which was really boring. And that's how you program the 885 as well at college. Really boring, punching in the numbers. Instead, they had compilers. You load up the compiler, you type in the instructions that you want it to do, and the compiler then worked out. And the advantage of the compiler is it would work out, obviously, where all the jumps would have labels for where you wanted to loop back, whereas before you had to calculate all that. But the compiler did that. And the guy showed me how to use the compiler. He showed me where all the bits and pieces are in the Spectrum. And after a couple of days, I really got my head around this. And then the boss came round and said, right, this is what I want you to do. I want you to do a video demo of the company logo. And I want the logo to be hidden, and then you blow something up in front of it and show the logo. Oh, okay. So I said, why not have a chrome block? Now, block of chrome, behind it are the letters of the company, and you blow it up and you see the letters of the company. Okay, so I then programmed the Spectrum to do that. No sound effects, it was just purely graphical. And I had 2 weeks to do that. And he says, well, miss college for 2 weeks. I'll pay you for 2 weeks. Okay, sounds good. And he paid me quite good money as well. So I did that. And less than 2 weeks, I had something really that worked, that really looked good. It was quite not bad. And it was random. I worked out, I got the formula for random and programmed it in machine code so that each time you ran it, the thing was different. It wasn't the same every time. And the boss came round, took one look at what I'd done, and within, 30 seconds of seeing it, right, literally, instantaneously, he turned around and said, do you want a job? And I went, well, yeah, sure, absolutely. And I said, and I'm going to pay you what in today's money is about £20,000 per year. Because, I thought, blimey, well, yeah, of course, I definitely want that job. Because I went from zero income to £20,000 a year. That's more than £1,000 a month, right? So going from zero to £1,000 a month, right? So my mum was wrong. Buying the ZX81 was the best investment I ever made. And I really got into computers. And so the reason I'm telling you all this is so that you know that I do know about computers. Because I went on after that to go into business programming as well, where I got paid even more money, right? And started programming network systems and did 68,000 code and C and Pascal and Java and all everything. Because once you know one programming language, once you know one microprocessor, it's very easy to translate across. I mean, learning 68,000, having done Z80, yeah, child's play. The Z80, the Z80 is well structured. The 68,000 is incredibly well structured. It's a brilliant microprocessor. Hence, it was actually the microprocessor that was originally in the Apple, I believe, the Apple computer. The Macintosh, I think, was 68,000 based. I may be wrong, but so I have a good grounding in computers. And the reason why is there's been a lot of talk on TV and on YouTube about something that I don't think is being talked. I must be missing something because on TV it's not being talked about. We have television in the States, and I don't think it's being talked about. On YouTube there's a little bit more info, but I don't think it's being talked about in quite the right way. And so I want to do a talk about that. So I want you to know that I have got insights into how computers work, how your mobile phone works, how your TV works. And because I come from an electronics background, I do know how old TV works, the old PAL system and stuff like that. Of course, it's all now digital, which is basically just a stream, it's like streaming. But the other thing is that a lot of the things that we used to have conversations because there was a team of programmers that I worked at, and we used to have conversations about this, like which direction we're going in. And a lot of the stuff the guys talked about and I talked about have come to pass. They really have, they've come to pass. And so that was, we could extrapolate from what we knew about computers back then. And you look at other people extrapolating them. I'm not too sure they're quite looking in the right way in some respects. But I'm going to talk about stuff. So this is my introduction. I wouldn't say I'm famous, but I did work on some known games titles. But I wouldn't say I'm famous. My main thing these days is photography. But anyway, that's my introduction. So hi. And then I'm going to post other talks about general things, sometimes technology. I may stray into politics. I will try and be objective if I do talk about politics, but I do have a particular outlook, which some people might find, well, I don't like upsetting people, but I might say things that might cause a problem. And now I don't mind negative comments. I don't mind. I'm one of these people who believes that it's very difficult to avoid offending everybody. If you attempt not to offend everybody, you're gonna just not have an opinion. It's very, very difficult because any opinion could offend anyone. It's up to the person whether they get offended by it. That's the problem. I mean, anything theoretically could offend somebody else because you've got no idea what their tolerance level is for being offended. So it's as simple as that. But that's my introduction. So as I said, Happy New Year 2024. Hope everybody's having a wonderful time. And I will come back with another chat. And my first one will be about the controversial subject of, AI and stuff. And we'll go from there. So bye.